Alright guys, we've got a bit of a controversial situation going on here, and I feel like it's being sort of swept under the rug. I'm not really a fan of this rug sweepery, so I felt I would lay out to the best of my abilities what my take and what the important factors of the following situation are. Star of the show, this gentleman here, has had one too many, aka 2 beers, and sort of gets himself into a tough spot. I would say that his comment, which you're about to see as we play all of the stuff that's going on, it's not bad at all. But his reaction to what occurs next, in terms of decision making, I find, yeah, well, you'll just see. So anyway, the pre-flop action of this, it really just doesn't matter. Basically, these dudes are going to start whaling their towers in. Double M is going to back jam, and Mariano is going to initially react with like a bit of a Hollywood, which is completely understandable.
What is happening? What the fuck?
He says, what the fuck is happening? It's whatever. So no harm, no foul on this comment. But he leans in and whispers something over to the guy who's just jammed. And it's been confirmed later, including by himself, so there's no dispute on this, that he tells the player that he has pocket aces. He's most likely doing it, I believe him, because he just is letting his opponent know, hey mate, you've been cooled, basically. But he's forgetting that there is another guy in the hand. Well, he's not really forgetting because he is using a lower tone, so he's aware that there's another player in the hand, but he's forgetting something important, okay? Because when the other player in the hand hits him, or hits the dealer rather, up for the information of, hey, that guy just said something, what did he say? He's going to realize his mistake pretty fast, and you can see it on his face.
What is that? I'm not sure.
I'm talking to Double M.
Yeah, but because you're both in a hand.
It's okay. Yeah, he's all in. Don't worry about it. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Okay, we're good. We're good. Don't worry about it. I'm just talking to him. I said something to him, which is totally fine because he's all in. He's all in.
He says, it's okay, don't worry about it, when requested information by the player who doesn't speak particularly good English, the Chinese player, who was wondering, hey, what's that guy whispering to that guy when there's all this money going into the hand? It's very understandable that from the perspective of the Chinese player, these dudes might be up to something, and he's not sure how to interpret that. He wants to know what was said. It's completely reasonable, and I believe it's also within the rules of like every casino I've ever played at, that if you do say something to a player in the hand when there are multiple people in the hand, it needs to be exposed to everybody else in the hand, well, the whole table. It's like a show one, show all, it's a tell one, tell all kind of rule system that most casinos operate by. So while Mariano's comment was completely friendly and whatever the fuck to his mate, the reason that you shouldn't do it is because if somebody does say, hey motherfucker, what did you just say? You gotta be telling that shit. He's owed an explanation. And what happens next is, yeah, it's the blame game. And that's what I'm here to see what you guys think. So the Chinese dude says what he said.
What is that?
And Mariano instantly, like you can see the defense mechanisms just kicking in, firing. I'm just talking to Double M. I'm just talking to him. It's like, yeah, bro, bud, I'm in the fucking hand. You know, you gotta talk to me too, you know? What's going on with that?
I'm talking to Double M.
Yeah, but because you're both in a hand.
It's okay. Yeah, he's all in. Don't worry about it. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Okay, we're good. We're good. Don't worry about it. I'm just talking to him. I said something to him, which is totally fine.
Because if the situation was reversed here, and it was 2 Chinese players speaking Chinese, like, we don't know how good the Chinese dude's English is. Like, he legitimately probably didn't hear what the guy said, you know? But if there were 2 Chinese players whispering about what their whole cards were to each other while there was another player in the game in Chinese, everybody else at the table would be like, hey, what the fuck is going on? This is bullshit. You know? And I'm not trying to play any race cards or anything like that, but the point is very similar in reverse. If this dude doesn't understand what these 2 guys are talking about, and they're talking about their hands, which they were. I mean, you can't blame Double M. He's done nothing wrong. He's just all in. But they are discussing the hands, or at least one of them is. Like, the dude has a right to know what was said. It's a completely fair question. And so Mariano says, don't worry about it. And I'm not sure if he's directing the don't worry about it to the dealer. That would be my assumption. Or the Chinese player. Either way, he realizes what he's done, and he's attempting to cover this shit up.
Okay, we're good. We're good. Don't worry about it.
Okay, we're good. Don't worry about it. Well, do you know what, mate? I think with $200,000 to call off here, the player has every reason to fucking worry about what you just said. I also think, like, if you zoom in and slow-mo this section here, he fake overplays how drunk he is as, like, an excuse. I'm very good at reading people. I gotta say, I'm extremely fucking good at reading people. Does anyone agree with that read? I think it's a snap-off soul read. Let's have another look at that one.
Don't worry about it. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Okay, we're good. We're good. Don't worry about it. I'm just talking to him.
Like, he leaves the eyes, like, closing for too long, like, oh, stumbling home, you know? I don't believe you, bruh. I don't believe you at all.
I said something to him, which is totally fine because he's all in. He's all in.
And I think now he's directing his comment at the Chinese player, he's saying, which is totally fine because he's all in. I mean, I agree, it is totally fine that he's all in. However, it's also totally fine that the player who didn't hear what you said when you were discussing your hand, while he's still in the same fucking hand as you, is owed that information, brother. And I think you know that.
He didn't say anything to me.
And the Chinese guy, he's motioning to a friend of his. I'm not sure what the exact situation is, but like it's just a mate, and he's like trying to figure out like, yo, what the fuck's going on? The dealer didn't really give him the information, at least at this point. The dealer really didn't give him the information he was hoping to get. And I guess he's just, I mean, like, you're just looking for help. Like, what the fuck just happened? So he's whispering to this other guy. They're putting in hundreds of thousands of dollars, like 6-betting pre-flop or whatever the fuck. You know? You would be a bit sus what's going on when you're sitting there with the second nuts. I mean, it's not a good spot.
No.
Yeah.
Hank,
I said something to him. He didn't respond to me.
240.
I gotta say, I mean, at this point, I'm certainly not liking his response, and to me, it's quite indicative of guilt. I'm curious how other people perceive this. Like, we were discussing it in my Discord a bit. A lot of people feeling the same way as me about that, but, you know, it could be an echo chamber up in there. Could be an echo chamber. What do you guys think out here on the tubes? Whoever puts forward the best comment, including a solution at the end of this video, I'm going to give 100,000 Satoshi to. So if you know what that is, put your Bitcoin address under your comment. Also, just the funniest comment, that can have 100,000 sats too.
What did you say, Mariano?
And they say to him in the background, I think like there's basically what's happened right here is there's the dude's asking in Chinese, like trying to get the other dude who speaks better English than him probably to figure out what's going on. And I believe it's him, although I don't have the camera angle. I believe it's his mate. Then in English saying, "What did you say, Mariano? What did you say?"
I can't.
He says, "I can't. So he basically admits he can't say what he said because it would cost him too much fucking money. That's basically what he says. And look, if this was a home game, I would let it fly. Like, because you can have a dude that the Chinese guy trusts, talk to another dude who that dude trusts, who can say, hey, look, man, it is all good. He wasn't affecting the play in the hand. I can guarantee you that. Like, the dude's decision has not been tampered with whatsoever. But I'm pretty sure, bro, we're playing at the Cassie. You got to play by the rules. If you sit out, your fucking blinds are going in the tournament. That's just how it goes. We all get punished by the rules. And look, it's an unfortunate spot for Mariano. So it's just, how do you play it from this point? Like, we get it. You had the second beer. You regret that. But how do you play it from this point? And so far, I'm not liking what I'm seeing. There's a plot twist to come involving him responding and discussing this directly. I don't think you guys are going to like what he says there either. And on top of that, this isn't really the only proof of scummery from this dude in the video. Earlier on in the very same stream, he does basically exactly the same thing.
There's your answer.
That's right.
His reaction to the play is nice raise. Sometimes it's all good to comment when you're in a hand. Like, it's fine, you can balance, I get it. But I think people sometimes go too far and are just not balanced, and it's obvious enough to the other players in the hand that it's kind of unacceptable behavior. There's a famous hand with this guy called Scam Sovereign and Ben Heath and some other dude who they basically cheat out of a bunch of money. Ben Heath, it's very debatable whether he was aware of what he was doing. The other guy, it's like, it's pretty fucking obvious he knew what he was doing.
Yaroslav's gonna need some help.
Time extension being used there.
Did you not throw something forward?
But yeah, have your own opinion on that topic as well. That's another one that's pretty unresolved, because you can never know, what the person was thinking in the moment. So it's all up to perception. Either way, a professional player doing something unfair to another player should be responsible for what they've done. That's my take, and I think a lot of people would agree with that one. So in this one, we're going to hear Mariano's speech. So he starts it off with a nice raise or whatever.
That's well played, actually.
That's well played, actually. By the way, shout out to the actually at the end of that sentence. The D-bag entitlement, thinking you're a good reg. Mate, what's your screen name, bruv? Like, what's your loss rate per 100 in real games? Like, shut the fuck up, fake reg cunt. They're extremely deep here. So if he's not folding, and he's going to somehow back raise or continue in the hand, he's really put his range in a tough and very capped spot. with a lot of weird, like, moving factors that polarize the shit out of his future actions. So it's unlikely. I think anyone that's reasonable, I don't know, analyst of poker hands, it's very unlikely that the dude is going to continue after this commentary. Like, the first comment, you could maybe let it go. The rest of it, I think it's extremely obvious that he's going to fold. If you disagree, feel free to comment. I think you're probably a moron, but feel free to chuck it in the comments anyway. So yeah, this is an instance of unacceptable commentary in a multi-way pot. And then back to the main one.
I can't.
Okay. He said, this is crazy. I have upstairs, they're doing it. I got it. He said, this is crazy.
So the dealer, when Mariano is on the cooker from the Chinese dude's mate, asking him what he said, Mariano says, I can't say what I said, basically. That's what he reveals to us. I can't say what I said. The dealer is going to interject, put herself in the spot, into the fire. I mean, she's jumping in front of a fucking bullet here. That's a 200k bullet she's jumping in front of. And she's going to come in and mischaracterize what was said.
Yeah, don't worry. I'm not doing anything like...
And now he says, yeah, don't worry, I'm not doing anything like, followed by a gulp. Because he knows he is actually doing something exactly like gulp, cheating, whatever you want to call what he was about to say, probably cheating. He's basically trying to say, don't worry, my comment was not sus. True. But your lack of accountability to what's occurring right now is exactly what you're claiming that you're not doing with your comment. It is fucking cheating. I'm pretty sure it's against the rules what he's doing. I'm pretty sure he knows. I'm pretty sure he feels fucking guilty about it. And that he definitely shouldn't have done that shit. And that he definitely shouldn't have ordered that second fucking beer. I'm pretty sure that's what he's feeling right now. But before this situation resolves itself, because it's basically coming down to, is the dealer to blame? Like, are they friends? Why did she interject in that way? She's really putting herself in the fire.
Wait, don't shoot the messenger just yet.
Why? What have you got for me?
Dublin's gone all in. She's counting the chips. She takes her hand off the chips and she presses her earpiece into her ear.
And you think this is like activating it, or what is the likelihood of...
It's not activating it, but I've worked wearing two-way radios before, and especially in a kind of noisy environment like this, there's a lot of people speaking. Somebody in your ear, you know, you'll hear somebody speak to you, and it's extremely natural to reach up and push the earpiece harder against your ear so that they're louder and clearer. Like, you often just can't hear if you don't do that. She says, guys, and then she goes silent so that she's listening. Then she said, he says, this is crazy. I have upstairs, they're doing it, I got it. He said, this is crazy. Like, to me, that seems extremely conclusive that when he started, you know, complaining that the other guy had said something secretly, upstairs, you know, the recording booth, I suppose, went back, started listening to the footage, and they've contacted her now to tell her that he said this. So she's just relaying it.
Oh, that certainly changes things. It does really seem like you're onto something here. Like, it does seem like that's exactly what happened. It's also why there's such confidence in her manner. You know? Otherwise, a whole other can of worms would be opened up. But yeah, she says, I have upstairs. It's a clear statement that she's in contact with, you know, the people that have access to the actual audio. And they've done a bad job, potentially, of releasing what he said. Whether this is intentional or not, it's hard to say. There are some mutually aligned incentives in that this player here, Mariano, is kind of like their... I don't know what you would describe it as. It's like the player that they market their show based on. What would you call this? Like the prize pony? Is that a thing? So the craziest thing about this is, even if we assume negligence, she misquotes it completely. He said, what the fuck is happening? And she says that he said, this is crazy. He did not say that. There's a chance that she was reframing the wording to not swear because of some sort of anti-cuss policy she personally adopts. That would be the only out here. I tell you, I got a little conspiracy theory for you then. Crazy and a says are somewhat similar words.
Ah.
But then I have aces and this is crazy. While loosely similar statements and also similar amount of syllables and stuff like that are not similar enough. But if you listen to it at a very low audio, is that possible? Should I try it for the viewers at home? I have aces. I have aces. I have aces. This is crazy. Is it possible that that's what occurred? This is looking like the only remaining, because I'm guessing that the audio boys heard what's going on. Double M. I have aces. This is crazy. So then he would have said, in their opinion, he would have said, what the fuck is going on? Double M, this is crazy. It's believable that that's what they thought happened. It is believable. Yeah, I mean, there's the possibility that he said he had aces, but they realized the nature of his comment was friendly, like to the other player, and that it would be unfair information for this guy to know what it is. So they decided to return the game to its normal state, where the drunken fish reg doesn't make the punt comment. There is a chance that they elected to do that. I think that that's probably a breach of their own rules, though. And, you know, just basically every time I consider this situation, I feel like the casino has to be liable for the loss of this player in this pot. Not like from the point, like not for all of the 259,800, because he'd already put in like 50 or whatever. Like the money he'd put in is effectively lost. But anything additional, I think they're liable for. I think it's like 204k, 205k. Yeah, I really think they're liable. And the only other possible resolution that I think is acceptable is if Mariano claims some amount of the responsibility, so a percentage of those losses, if not the entire thing. And then he takes responsibility for it properly, instead of leaving a deflective excuse comment where he hopes that he can sweep the shit under the rug or whatever. So yeah, I'm not sure where it totally falls. It is a close and interesting spot, and I'm curious what other people think about it. But I do think it's important that it gets brought to light, and I really appreciate your attention to detail here, man, noticing that, because I was going to frame up the dealer hard. I was going to say they're fucking each other, this and that, you know, some kind of thing about the dealer, because that's the only thing that made sense to me for her to reframe it like that, especially to interject when he's in that moment where he's about to kind of confess, you know, like he was right on the pressure. He's saying, I can't tell you, brother. It's like, well, why not? You know, why can't you tell me? Because if you think about why you can't tell, the only reason is because he said what his cards were. It's actually the only reason. Do you know why I feel like the sound guys are probably innocent? At least I'm leaning innocent. It's like, it's certainly not a 90-10, but I think I'm leaning towards the innocent side for the sound guys, because I don't think humans tend to be smart enough to come up with an apt but similar expression in that short of a time frame. So they're changing double M, I have aces, to double M, this is crazy. Very similar. And if you listen to that piece of audio, we can play that again probably. Very, very similar. Like as similar as it gets, at least. So I just don't think the random donk getting paid 20 an hour or whatever for that job is smart enough to have figured that out to help out his mate and solve this whole fucking problem. But if he is, shut up, motherfucker. Come work for me. I like you. Although, quit scamming people.
It's like with that revelation that she was just repeating what they told her, and that the sound guys probably just misheard it, it's kind of a case of just people fucking up collectively. But it kind of comes back to Mariano. Like, he was the one who broke the rules in the first place and whispered to somebody and then refused to say what he said.
That's what I'm saying. It's the full circlements. Because I initially was like, well, he's just doing something thingy. So, you know, like, there's nothing wrong really with what he did. He made a comment. How he dealt with the comment, it was about to be bad, but he got saved. But I agree. I really feel like part of the shit's gone full circle. I'm a classic man. If I had to solve this one, I'd go casino 50%, Mariano 50%, Asian whale, collect your $204,800, mate. Well played. Great question. I like that you asked what he said. You did everything you possibly could. Yeah, so Mariano attempts to take responsibility for his actions with a comment over on YouTube. Hey guys, Mariano here. During this hand, I told Double M that I had aces while Yang was left to act. I was just trying to be friendly by letting him know that I had the nuts. I think we can all agree with that. Was it a good decision on my part? Probably not. Being semi-drunk and full of adrenaline didn't help, haha. You know, like this kind of bullshit. But I wasn't trying to angle or anything like that. Yes, we all agree, sir. Anyways, I'll keep my mouth shut next time I get AA versus KK. Bracket never. So, like, if you don't understand how this is manipulative behavior, it's quite hard to say it in a short form piece of content. But he's basically, like, diverting the blame to other things, like being drunk, and, like, he wasn't trying to angle. It's like, yes, you weren't trying to angle when you made the comment. We can all agree on that, brother. But look at your behavior and your mannerisms as soon as you realize you probably have to tell this motherfucker what you just said. But I can't. I can't, that he said that we can play it back again. When he said I can't, he didn't mean that he can't. It means that I don't want to because it'll cost me a lot of money. Okay, so there's a big difference between I don't want to because I've fucked up and I don't want to lose the money because I'm a greedy motherfucker. Or, you know, you don't say greedy, but you get the point. Whatever you want to call that. Someone who would put cash over ethics. That's how I would describe it. I think that's completely fair to describe it in that way. So yeah, and then he wraps it up with another pathetic joke. Anyways, I'll keep my mouth shut next time I get AA versus KK bracket never. You know, not funny. Just another topic change, dog shit. And then everybody seems to think this is good. They like this. You've got a lot of positive comments here. You've got a lot of people liking it. You only cost yourself potential value there. So, look, I just felt like I had to share because it looked to me like people just didn't really understand what was going on. Just like in the world in general. People don't really understand what's going on. But a few of my boys in the Discord, shout out to them. They know what's going on. They alerted me to this topic. I instantly saw what a few other people saw. And it's just not cool. So let's talk about it a little bit.